Have you ever looked around your home and felt that something was not quite right, even though everything seemed clean and orderly? That feeling is very familiar, especially as we move into later years of life. A home is not just a place to live. It is a place that holds an entire lifetime. Objects collected over the years, memories tied to loved ones, habits formed long ago. And then, quietly and without much notice, the space that once felt warm and comforting begins to feel heavier, though we may not realize it right away. Clutter does not always appear as an obviously messy room. Sometimes it is simply a corner that used to be empty, now occupied by a chair no one ever sits on. It is a coffee table, covered with items meant to be put away later. It is cabinets that are already full and drawers that no longer close easily. Each item has a reason for being there, but when they accumulate, they leave us feeling tired and unsettled in our own home. This video is not about cleaning to impress others. It does not ask you to change everything in a single day. The purpose here is much simpler: to help you rediscover a sense of lightness, clarity, and peace in your own living space. Because a tidy home is not meant to be displayed for anyone else, but to allow you to slow down, feel more comfortable, and truly enjoy each day. Old paperwork and letters are among the most common reasons a home begins to feel heavy without people realizing it. It often starts innocently. A few envelopes you plan to open later, a bill to deal with when you have time, a magazine you want to read over the weekend. Then small stacks of paper appear on the dining table, the kitchen counter, near the phone, or beside the television remote. At first, they seem harmless. Over time, however, they quietly take up space and blend into daily life. What many people overlook is that paper clutter does not only occupy physical space, it also creates mental weight. Each time you pass by a pile of unfinished papers, even if you do not consciously think about it, your mind registers it as something not yet done. This feeling repeats itself, building into stress, fatigue, and sometimes a vague sense of guilt. The living space becomes busy, even though you are not actually doing more. Most of these papers have already lost their value. Old bills, expired coupons, duplicate documents, or papers you might need someday, but almost never use again. Many older adults keep paperwork for a sense of security, as if having everything close at hand helps them maintain control over life. But as the volume grows, that sense of control slowly disappears, replaced by confusion and pressure. The solution does not need to be extreme. You do not have to clear everything at once. Start with the smallest stack. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Remove what is clearly unnecessary. Then choose one fixed place for the papers that truly matter. When everything has a home, the space feels lighter, and so does your mind. You are not throwing away the past. You are making room for peace to enter the present. Small decorative items in the home often carry the strongest emotions. They may be souvenirs from a distant trip, small figurines given on special occasions, or objects that once sat on the shelf of a loved one who has passed away. Each item is tied to a story, a memory, a chapter of life. Keeping them close brings warmth and familiarity, as if we are surrounded by what feels safe and known. Over time, however, these small items tend to multiply. Each year brings another gift, another decoration, another memory brought home. Gradually, flat surfaces disappear. Bookshelves, coffee tables, display cabinets, windowsills, all become covered. A space that once told a clear story becomes visually crowded and harder to care for, making the room feel smaller and more overwhelming. What few people realize is that every object quietly demands our attention. Even if we are not intentionally looking at them, the brain continually registers shapes, colors, and positions. When too many things appear at once, the mind has to work harder to process them, creating a subtle kind of mental fatigue that is difficult to name. You may not feel overwhelmed, yet you often feel tired, unfocused, or unable to truly relax in your own living room. Sometimes, items that once brought joy fade into the background. When everything is displayed, nothing truly stands out. The original affection slowly disappears, replaced by a feeling of familiarity so deep that you no longer really see them. This is a sign that the space needs to breathe. Keeping does not mean displaying everything. Choose a few items that truly make you smile when you see them, and give them a place of honor. The rest can be carefully stored or passed on to others. When you choose what you see each day, you are choosing peace for yourself. Many homes of older generations are filled with large, heavy, solid furniture. These pieces once symbolized prosperity, stability, and permanence. Oversized sofas, thick wooden cabinets, bulky TV stands, and wide armchairs belonged to a time when families were large, guests were frequent, and the home was always full of voices and laughter. Over the years, life changes, but the furniture remains, taking up space and holding on to its old form. As we grow older, those same pieces can begin to take more than they give. They make rooms darker and more crowded, narrow walkways, and make movement less convenient. You find yourself navigating corners, walking more slowly, being more careful with each step. This physical tension may seem small, but it accumulates day by day and quietly affects your mood. The home no longer offers complete relaxation. What matters is recognizing that your home should suit your current life, not your past. You no longer need dining sets for dozens of people or massive cabinets to store items rarely used. A lighter living space, with furniture that fits, is easy to clean and easy to move around, brings greater comfort and safety each day. Keeping furniture simply because it was expensive or has been there for decades can make us forget to ask an important question. Does this piece still serve my life today? Changing furniture is not a rejection of old memories. It is a way of honoring the present and caring for yourself better. When a room gains more open space, light flows more freely and movement becomes easier. And when the space can breathe, you will feel yourself breathing more deeply and slowly, finding greater peace in your own home. At a certain stage, home decoration is no longer just about aesthetics. It becomes a place where memories live. Every painting on the wall, every old clock, every small ornament carries its own story. It may be a wedding gift from years ago, a souvenir from a long-past journey, or a handmade item from a child or grandchild. These objects hold meaning, and so we tend to keep them all as a way of holding on to precious moments. But as their numbers grow, walls lose their empty spaces, shelves and corners become crowded. At that point, the space no longer feels warm. It begins to feel suffocating. The eyes do not know where to rest, and the mind struggles to find a place to pause. Instead of relaxation, the room feels constantly busy, even when nothing is happening. What many do not realize is that visual clutter directly affects both emotions and the body. When too many images, colors, and objects appear at once, the brain must constantly process information. This makes you more easily tired, less focused, and less able to truly unwind at home. The living space, instead of nurturing peace, quietly creates a low-level but persistent tension. Reducing decoration does not mean erasing memories. On the contrary, it is a more refined way of honoring them. When you choose a few meaningful pieces and give them room to shine, each one becomes more precious. Empty wall space allows light to spread, making the room feel lighter and more open. A beautiful home is not one that holds the most things, but one where every item has a reason to remain and brings a sense of ease. When the space becomes quieter, the heart settles as well, and you can more clearly feel the peace within your own home. There are items we keep not because we still need them, but because they have accompanied us through a long stretch of life. A table that witnessed countless family meals. A cabinet filled with cups no longer used but tied to joyful holidays. A stack of old magazines that once brought comfort each evening. One by one, these items accumulate, not only in the house, but in our minds as well. Over time, they can quietly create a sense of heaviness, not because they are ugly or worthless, but because they no longer fit our current life. The home, meant to be a place of rest and renewal, becomes a reminder of unfinished tasks, postponed plans, and unused corners. And that, however subtle, affects our daily emotions. Decluttering and letting go is not a denial of the past. It is a loving choice, choosing to keep what still brings joy, convenience, and peace in the present. When you let an object go, you do not lose the memory attached to it. Those memories remain within you, whole and intact, independent of the object's presence. The most beautiful part of this process is that it does not require perfection. A small action can create a big change. Clearing one tabletop, letting go of one unused item, rearranging one corner of the home. These small changes bring immediate relief, as if you have opened another window to let light and fresh air in. When your living space becomes tidier and quieter, your thoughts become clearer and your emotions gentler. You are not only cleaning your home, you are giving yourself a gift: peace, presence, and the freedom to slow down and truly enjoy each day more fully.